Hello everyone, it's Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. It's lovely to see you all. How is everyone doing? It's Halloween today. Happy Halloween. Today I'd like to pull some cards for Halloween. I had a Will and Wisdom session booked, but I didn't sell any. There were no takers for that, so I'm just coming on here to pull cards. So I've got Believe in Your Own Magic, which is a witchy deck, and I've got Oracle of the Shapeshifters by Lucy Cavendish, and then I've got my friend's deck. And I'm going to pay some respects to Matthew Perry, who unfortunately died at the weekend. I did actually record Halloween card video yesterday. I was experimenting with the camera setup and seeing if I could get the camera to go down on the cards. It's quite hard to do it without the necessary equipment, so I thought face to camera is the easiest thing. It's what I've always done anyway. And and I recorded it and it didn't come out very well. The quality of it wasn't very good, so I thought, but I now know why that didn't work out. It's funny, the synchronicities and the way that events happen. But basically, in my Facebook community, my Journaling Your Jammies community online at the weekend, I posted to say that wouldn't be doing any more free workshops, because for a year now I've been doing a monthly journaling workshop, which has been predominantly to give people the opportunity to see what it's like to work with me and, you know, feel my energy and see if I'm a good fit for them, and also to show people how I work, how I journal, and how journaling is such a powerful transformational tool. And I did it originally as well because I wanted to create a community, but I got a sense that people didn't want to engage, and I was frustrated because I was thinking, what, you just got to like or drop an emoji in the comments just to sort of say I've seen your post. You don't need to, you know, write War and Peace on every post. But and I was becoming frustrated, and this is the point that I always get to with social media, where I get to the point where I think, oh, FFS, you know, like, ugh. And I thought, I am constantly creating free content and not getting anything back. And my new thing is that I'm trying to break patterns of being in non-reciprocal relationships. So that is a non-reciprocal relationship where I'm doing all the giving. To be fair, there are a very small percentage of people in that group, I would say 10% of them, who are active and who are engaging with me. And they're all people that are clients or who've worked with me or who know me outside of the group. So everyone else that's come into that group, I don't know what their objectives are for being there, but they don't want that community engagement, which makes me sad. But I also think it's a symptom of the online world, and that's what I want to get into today. So I posted quite a vulnerable post, and I was very emotional because I was just telling it like it was for me in the moment. And I was sick and tired of being sick and tired, because I reached this kind of hump in the road with social media all the time. And people were lovely, and I want to say to those people that reached out and sent me lovely messages and were encouraging and responded to me, thank you so much. I felt your kindness and it was lovely to receive, and I'm really grateful for you, and that stuff isn't directed at you, okay? So thank you. This morning I got a message from a client, and she messaged me to share her experience of being a blogger online for 5 years. And it was such a heartfelt message and such a lovely share. And this is what can happen when you open up and make yourself vulnerable to the right people. It has to be to the right people. She wrote to me and said that she'd been in the online world, and she thinks that the online world fragments you, it splits you in half, and it's not good for you. And I read those words and I was like, OMG, I get it now. I get it why it's so toxic for me. And, you know, not really appreciating my own levels of high sensitivity and my humanness and my own vulnerability, because the online world does fragment us, and it does split us. And for me, that is what happened to me as a child repeatedly. So childhood trauma is when you repeatedly experience trauma and it cuts you off from yourself and you fragment into lots of little pieces. So no wonder every time I go online and I have this experience, and energetically I knew in my body that it wasn't right for me. I knew it. And if you follow my podcast, you've heard me whinging on forever about, oh, I'm having a social media break, oh, I'm pissed off with social media, oh, this, that, and the other. And obviously, when you're complaining about something, you have to take responsibility for your life and set boundaries with it. So I'd be on and off with it, like a dysfunctional relationship. And what I realised is that social media mirrors the narcissistic relationship. So if you've been narcissistically abused, or you've grown up with childhood trauma and abuse, then it is going to be hell on earth to be on social media. Absolute hell on earth, isn't it? Let's look at the ways that it mirrors the narcissistic relationship. When you're in a relationship with a narcissist, they have a very warped sense of reality. Well, social media is a warped sense of reality because it's run on algorithms, isn't it? It's run on algorithms and it's set up in a way to create conflict and controversy and to get more likes, to garner more time and attention from people, right? So I'm not the sort of person that would come online and say something for the sake of saying it, like clickbaity, to get likes. I'm here to educate and talk to people and share and support a community of highly sensitive people who are struggling to live in, quite a dark world at the moment. It's a dark world, isn't it? It's a mad world. Who sung that song? Drop a comment. Drop the answer in the comments. Who sung It's a Mad World? Was it Tears for Fears? Can't remember. Yeah, so it replicates it in that way. But also when you're in a relationship with a narcissist, you have to give the narcissist constant supply. And the way a narcissist garners supply is by eliciting strong emotional responses from you. That's how they control you. Oh, well, hello. At the weekend when I posted my, I'm not doing free workshops anymore, I've had enough of this game, I'm off, see you later, the emotions that were coming up out of me, and I obviously know how to ground and manage my triggered state, and so I did the necessary, which, if you're interested, is dancing. I did a Halloween dance video to some Michael Jackson songs, journaling, and just talking to my inner child and saying to her, we're safe, I've got your back, it's fine, you're all right. But it elicited such strong emotional responses, and that's the addiction, to go back and go, but hang on a minute, but, and it leaves you in a state of confusion. If you've ever been in a conflict with a narcissist, you will feel like you've had your head put in a washing machine and on a spin cycle, because they leave you in a state of confusion, because they gaslight you and they tell you that your reality is not your reality. And so the system that is social media, or the platforms that are social media, act in that way, because I felt like I was going a bit mad at the weekend. And obviously, because I was triggered, if I go into that sort of inner child space of doubting myself, then I can quite easily spiral into a whole place of futility, of kind of like despair, of hopelessness, of what's the point. And then adult me comes in and goes, but why are we doing this, Lisa? And I'm like, we're doing this because we want to help other people. And then adult me goes, but not at the expense of our mental health. There has to be another way to find these people, and these platforms are not good for us. And so and I was knowing all this stuff and having these conversations. So when my client texted me this morning and said, it splits you, and I thought, oh my God, it totally does. It's traumatic if you're an HSP to be in the online world, which is really dark and is run by these algorithms, which are a beast that needs constant supply, that is never satiated, and it elicits strong emotional responses in people. You've only got to go in the comments to see the shit show and the arguments and the baiting and the bullying and all of that. So maybe I should be grateful. Perhaps the universe is protecting me and saying, we don't want a comment section like that, because that would not be nice for you to have to manage that. And no, it wouldn't. It would not at all. And the only way that I see people getting, having their profiles raised or finding their tribe or finding their audience online is by having something controversial to say. That in itself is quite narcissistic. It's quite attention seeking, isn't it? Like, I just come on here and share stuff because I go, well, I've got a message. I learnt this thing today. Let me tell you about it. Let's pull some cards. How are you? How are you feeling? Because it's social media and I want to connect. But the platform's not built for that. And I think I've been a little bit naive for a start. I think I've not appreciated my own vulnerability and my own high sensitivity. I also noticed in the Facebook group that when I came undone a little bit and shared that I was a vulnerable human that was also recovering from trauma, and that I had a desire to help people, and we're all vulnerable, that some people left the group. So that's really that's a tell, isn't it? It's like, oh, so when you get vulnerable, who stays and who goes? Well, the people that leave are the people that can't deal with their own vulnerability, and that makes them feel uncomfortable, so they leave, doesn't it? So yeah, so I need to find another way to find my tribe. I actually quite like coming on YouTube, and I like talking on the podcast. The podcast gives me a level of anonymity because it's just my voice. And I have got quite a nice following on my podcast. But I also like coming on YouTube because this is more visual, and my work is very visual. Like, I use cards and journaling in my work. And I also think it's nice to see people's faces, isn't it? So I think, maybe when I've gone away and licked my wounds and had a bit of time and space to myself, that maybe I'll come back and try some more YouTube tutorials around the journaling with the tarot cards and the oracle cards, because that's definitely a really transformational, powerful tool that if we get that out into the world, imagine if we learnt this stuff at school. I just feel like they want to keep us all dumb and not emotionally intelligent and not connected to ourselves. Think about it. You're walking around all day like this. You're connected to that dumb screen. You're not connected to your heart. You're not connected to who you are. And every time you come online, it's widening the gap between you and you. And you're being sucked into this. I'm just seeing like this massive void, this big black hole that literally drains you of all your energy. I mean, this is me as an adult who's done 20 years of trauma healing and is quite self-aware and knows how to manage herself. Imagine what it's like for a vulnerable child with a mind that's like clay, that's like a sponge, that absorbs everything. Imagine what that's like for them. It's going to fuck people up, something terrible, isn't it? So on that note of vulnerability and sensitivity, I want to pay my respects to Matthew Perry, who most of us know as Chandler Bing on Friends. I was actually looking at the cards in my tarot deck of all the ones with Chandler in. Should we have a look at them together? He's mostly known for Friends, but he was recently interviewed about his book in the last couple of years. And he was saying, I know I'll always be remembered for Friends, but actually what I want to be remembered for is helping people overcome their addictions, of being a helper and a healer. And I thought, bless you. Oh, look, there he is. Oh, he's the strength card in the tarot. Look at him there. And there is a strength in vulnerability. And that's what I wanted to say. Matthew Perry was an HSP. He was a highly sensitive person. I don't know much about his backstory in his childhood, but he was an introvert. He was a very private person. He came out of his shell and made people laugh. And, I think that's how he won love from people maybe as a child. I'm seeing Robin Williams in my head now as well, the comedian Robin Williams. A way of cheering people up and making sure they're okay by making them laugh. But to be vulnerable, to speak from your heart, to show your true self in a world that wants you to harden your heart, takes courage. He is the courage card in the deck. Let's see where else he is in the deck. And I think the world was too hard for him, and he had fame at a young age. And he became addicted to all sorts of things. He went into rehab numerous times. I'm pretty sure I read somewhere that he went like 15 times and spent millions of pounds on recovery. His colon burst open. His body was breaking down because it couldn't handle the addiction anymore. I think when you've got a lot of money, you can enable the addiction a lot easier than if you were just you and I existing, because we wouldn't have the sort of money to be able to buy or access those drugs, you know, or that much alcohol. I felt so sad when I read that he died. First of all, I was shocked. Then I burst into tears. And then I got really nostalgic because I think we all grew up with friends. Well, if you're my age, I'm 50 next year. We all grew up with those people. We feel like we know them, and their comfort TV and their bond together and their individual personalities and how they all had just they were like a family. They were like a family, like a bit of a dysfunctional family, but it was full of love and kindness and good intention. Oh, there he is the King of Swords. Yes, because he was the king of sarcasm, wasn't he? He used to tell it how it was, and he was, well, sarcasm is passive aggressive, but the King of Swords doesn't mince his words. He tells it like it is. So that's interesting. And I think when you do tell it like it is for some people, they can't bear it. They can't handle it. They can't handle the truth. The truth will set you free, as they say. Oh, there he is there. Look, Four of Swords. That's actually the card of healing and rest. He's got Lionel Richie LP in his hand. All night long. He was probably tired. He was probably so tired. He says he was never high on the set of Friends because he had a rule, his own rule, where he wouldn't use at work. But he would often come into work and be hungover. And I watched an interview him saying where you can see, he said you can see in every season of Friends, that was cocaine, that was alcohol, that was pharmaceuticals, prescription tablets. And he could see by his weight and his appearance like what he was going through at the time. I mean, what utter hell. What utter hell. And yeah, he was probably quite tired, but he needed healing. Four of Swords is the card of healing. What else have we got for Chandler Bing? What's your favourite episode or line from Friends? Write it in the comment section. I quite like Phoebe. I think Phoebe's my favourite character, and Chandler comes a close second. Let's see if we've got any more Chandler cards in here. Here he is. He's the Judgment card. Oh, yeah. The Judgment Day. The Day of Judgment. The Day of Reckoning. And you have so many days of reckoning when you're recovering from addiction or you're recovering from your trauma. So much reckoning. You have to be really honest with yourself. Yeah. He's also the Ten of the Swords, which Ten of Swords is like the end of a cycle. But look, Monica's holding the swords behind her back, and he's being romantic to her front. He's offering her flowers. People say he was very kind and very generous with his time and his love and his money. Did a lot of work for charity. I think he set up a like a recovery unit somewhere in LA where he lived. Very giving. He's giving. Very giving. Maybe sometimes to the wrong people. See, and that's when you're vulnerable, you do give to the wrong people. And I think the lesson is discernment. You need to listen to your intuition and trust your gut and know when it feels wrong to stop giving. And that's the place I got to in my Facebook group. Now, I don't know if that's anything to do with the people in there per se, or just the frickin' algorithm and the system. And I think the system breeds fear, which again, if you grew up in a narcissistic family, that's another reflection of it. There's just loads of fear and control. And I'm coming in and I'm trying to bring in the light, and I'm trying to create an environment that's safe, and I'm trying to create an environment and encourage people to you know, feel proud that they're healing. And because we are in the minority, you know. There's not many of us that are healing. Oh, look, 5 of Swords. Yeah. That for me is like a narcissistic. Walk away. Down tools, walk away. You don't have to fight against it. And you won't win against a narcissist, can I just say. The way to heal from narcissistic abuse is to focus on you, not on them. You can't change them and they're not going to change. And to get pulled into their world just messes with your mind even more. And don't feel sorry for them, because they play the sort of inner child lost victim. They love to be the victim. Some of them the biggest victim in the room. Don't fight them. Down tools and walk away. Just down tools and walk away. Oh, wow. I love this deck. Oh, do you remember this episode where they were at a party and Monica was going, Chandler's pulling his sex face, and he was arm wrestling with, I can't remember if it was Ross or Joey at the table, dressed as a little bunny. Yeah, that's the youthful, playful side of him. Page of Swords is the messenger, but that's the comedian, like delivering the humour and the messages that bring people so much joy. He brought so much joy into people's lives, didn't he? See if there's any more. Oh, look what the Lovers card is in this deck. It's Ross and Rachel. We were on a break. And oh, the Emperor is Tom Selleck. I love Tom Selleck as Monica's boyfriend in Friends. Did you? Such a handsome, strong man. Oh, Chandler is also the 6 of Swords. The 6 of Swords is, I think it's going on a journey in the Rider-Waite Tarot. I'm not sure. I haven't got my tarot deck with me. Let me look up the 6 of Swords. The 6 of Wands is success, I'm pretty sure. Let's just look up the 6 of Swords. Because I can't see the thing in my mind. Do you know what I mean? I can't see the other card in my mind. I'm pretty sure the 6 of Swords is about going on a journey. Yes, it's the one with the man in the boat with the woman going on a journey. He went on a journey with his career. Do you remember? He was in like an office techie job. Because I remember when they did the quiz, when they were betting for who would win the flat, and they were going, what is Chandler's job? And Rachel goes, he's a transponster. That wasn't the right answer. And he ended up leaving that job and then getting into something more creative, which is what you do when you heal. So when you go on your healing journey, when you start to walk the path, your creative nature, which is we're all creative at heart, comes out. Oh, I like that one. Yeah. What does it say for the 6 of Swords? Travel, movement in a more positive direction, making progress. And, you know, he did make... I think it's sad that he died because he did make progress. He was last reported to be sober, and he'd released this book, and he was obviously sponsoring other people, and he had made progress in his healing. Massive amounts of progress. Yeah, let's just see if there's any more Chandler cards in the deck. Joey with the eight of Pentacles, smell the fart acting. Do you remember that? I just love Friends. It's just so brilliant. Ah, Chandler is also the Hanged Man. Sometimes the Hanged Man can be pause, but it can also be seeing things from a different perspective. Now, when you come into healing, you see the world from a completely different perspective. When you go into healing, you go into the darkness and you find the light within you. Oh, someone's leaf blowing outside now. Can you hear that? Yes, when you're healing, you see the world from a completely different perspective. And you see it from a place of truth, but it means that everything you learn as a child, or everything you were taught growing up, you have to kind of let go of. And obviously we do that in layers, because that's a lot to let go of. But definitely seeing things from a different perspective. Let's see what else they say about the Hanged Man on here. I read cards intuitively. I don't always read directly what the tarot meanings are. I've got loads of books on tarot. I've studied the tarot. It's the hero's, it's the fool's journey. It's the healing. It's the healing path. Hold on, let's just... Yes, to pause, surrender. Oh, it's the letting go, surrender. I knew there was something else in here. Surrender is the first step of the 12 steps when you go into recovery from addiction. We knew that we were weak to addiction and we were powerless over it, and you surrender it up to a higher power. And that, I think, is the different perspective you have, that you have the perspective of your higher power. But in order to listen to your higher power and hear it, you have to clear all this crap in your head. And that's why we do the journaling. That's what we learn from the free fall journaling, is to release all of that that's locked up in here and free your mind from that. And then, and then listen to a higher power. When the Hanged Man is reversed, it means delays and resistance and stalling and indecision, but it didn't come out reversed in this deck now. Let's just see what else we've got. Chandler is also the King of Cups. Cups in the tarot represent emotions. He is a highly sensitive person. He was. And I think Hollywood was too narcissistic and dark. And so if you think about the way the world's run, like social media is a reflection of the darkness of a narcissistic world. But that also is shown in Hollywood, in politics, celebrity world, in the celebrity world. So our world is overrun and led to a certain extent by psychopaths and narcissists. So that's why when you change your perspective and you start speaking to your higher power and you become connected to your own power, you don't succumb to the darkness anymore. But in order to do that, you need to be connected to your feelings. So the King of Cups, let's just see what the tarot says about the King of Cups. I'm picking that up, that he's a highly sensitive person that's in touch with his emotions. And you know what? In the world that he was in the celebrity, in the film world, in the TV world, it would have been hard to be sensitive around those types of people. It's all about money. It's all about image. It's all about how you look, isn't it? And it's all about what sells, really, and what, So the King of Cups, what does the tarot say it is? Let's have a look. Emotionally balanced, compassionate and diplomatic. Yes. So the reverse of that would be self-compassion. So you have to have compassion for yourself before you can have compassion for other people, because otherwise that's what I call idiot compassion. You kindness and compassion, charity, starts within yourself, and then you can spread it out to other people. But fill your cup up. Fill your cup up first. And let your cup be overflowing and give from that place of being in that space. Oh, so they're the Chandler cards in the deck. So let's pull some cards for Halloween and see what messages want to come through for Halloween. Put my glasses on. So first of all, we're going to pull from the Shapeshifters deck. I think when we think about the darkness or the narcissistic world that we live in, there's a lot of fear, as I said, a lot of fear and control in those worlds. See the reflection on my glasses in the mirror. Right. Can we get a message for Halloween, please? Let's get a message for Halloween. Yes, so thanks to all the people that have been kind and supportive when I was having my social media meltdown. But I think it's good when you reach your limits with something, because we've all got limits, and it's a sign for you to change direction, do something else. I have come to the conclusion that I'm not meant for social media land, and I need to listen to myself a bit more. There you go. Sacred Beetle Armour, 38. You have a mighty shield. Yeah. So if you're going to play with the big boys, if you're going to play with the darkness, you need to protect your energy. I do protect my energy, but I still feel it. I still feel it. And it can be so consuming at times. And I guess it's very familiar to me. It's very familiar to me. What do you see when you look at that card? Sacred beetle armour. You have a mighty shield. I also feel like Spirit's saying to me, you're protected because you're doing good work. You're doing work that's healing and you're trying to help people, so we will protect you. And I do feel protected by Spirit. Let's have another card from this deck. What do you get from that card? Sacred beetle armour. She looks pretty sad, that girl, though. But you don't want to be hanging out in the darkness all the time. That's what I'm saying to you. And I'm saying to you, it's very dangerous when you've got a phone that connects you to the darkness all the time and you're constantly looking at it all the time. Although there are a lot of content creators like me that are creating content that comes from a place of love and light. So just be more discerning about what content you choose to consume. Yes. Oh my God. Look at that. Miss Spider Web. The World Wide Web. Ha. The internet. Reconsider your alliances and make new connections. Yeah, stop connecting with that world, Lisa. When are you going to get it? And the card that fell out with that. Oh, it's lovely. This is my card for Mo. Kitsune. I'll show you who to trust. Mo's the little dog I look after if you don't know me. I'll show you who to trust. Yes. Well, you learn to trust by listening to your intuition. Look at the card that's underneath that. The gift of sacred sight. Fiona and the unicorn. The gift. Yes, so trust and listen to your intuition. Stay out of the spider's web. Trust your intuition. Actually, one of the comments that came through from Wildheart in my Facebook group was like, trust your intuition, Lisa. It feels wrong. It feels dark. It feels bad. And I've always been of the opinion of, but I run a business and how else am I going to connect to people? And everyone's on their phones, but everyone's on their phones, numbed out, scrolling, not in a good headspace. Am I going to connect to those people anyway? And I think I've said to you before, the way that people find me is through referrals. But it's just my fear. Oh, look at this card. It's just my fear, I was just about to say, that's stopping me from completely shutting down from that, because I'm thinking, oh, it's my livelihood. How am I going to pay my mortgage? But actually, what is that bringing me? It's not bringing me anything of any nourishment. Look at that. Pose brave flight. You will not let fear stop you this time. So it's going to take a lot of courage to believe that you can find these people without being on the internet. Wow, look at those cards. So we've got protect yourself. Trust your intuition. Pretty backwards on here. And I will not let fear stop you. And she's on a flight. She's on a pathway to somewhere else. You need to go somewhere else. So Spirit, can you tell us any more about where we need to go then? Where would you like us to go? I have some ideas of how I can take my business forward. And if you'd like to stay in touch with me, go to my website, smileyforlife.com, and sign up for my newsletter. Where are we going? Where are we going, Spirit? Oh, I don't understand what that card means. Two little dragons with a girl, little brother, little sister, siblings, younger friends, responsibility. Was it saying I need to go back and work with the youngsters and help them with this online stuff? Because I really think it is going to become, so talking about Matthew Perry and his addiction, phones and the online world is highly addictive, and that is going to become a thing in the next few years, I'm sure, if it isn't already a thing now. Oh, am I being drawn back towards the younger people? I don't think so. See, that's a battle that I don't want to take on. So my sort of ethos for working is to inspire people, is to empower people and get people thinking differently, and then hopefully they'll take action off the back of that. I was I didn't want to take on the school system when I was in my other job working with kids, because that feels like a beast. And I don't really want to take on... But I suppose you don't have to take on the whole beast. You just help the individual people that show up and that need help. Right, let's pull some cards from the positive witchy deck. So that's the darkness. That's how we fight the darkness, right? So this is a message for all of you. You fight the darkness by protecting yourself. Be discerning about where you put your energy and who you engage with and what you feed your mind with. Listen to your intuition. If it doesn't feel right, it isn't. Red flags. Red flags are go-go. And don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to swim against the tide and do what's right for you. Not everyone's going to like it. Tough tits. Right, let's do Believe in Your Own Magic. I love this deck. I've seen a new deck. Amanda Lovelace has just brought out a tarot deck, a whole tarot deck with similar artwork and messages. And when I've got enough pennies, I'm going to treat myself to it. So I think we can learn a lot from Matthew Perry's life. I think we can learn that money don't buy you happiness. And he said as well, he said, it's pretty similar to what Davina McCall said actually, like when you have got pain inside of you and you've got trauma, it feels like there's a hole inside of you that can never be filled up. You know, like you've got a leaky bucket. And you think that by becoming famous, that is going to be the answer to your prayers, or becoming rich and famous, that's the answer to your prayers. And it isn't. It just led to a path of misery. But it also led to a path of awakening and discovery. So what are our messages for Halloween, please? Our positive messages against the darkness. It does feel like it's a war against the darkness right now. And I don't want to be that Five of Swords card, Chandler with the swords. I don't want to be in battle all the time. I don't want to feel like I'm raging against the machine. It's bloody tiring and it's no good for me or you. But maybe we don't fight against it. Make peace, not war. But I think the only way to make peace in a narcissistic relationship, which is what loads of people end up doing, is going no contact. That's why people go no contact, because it sends you mad. It sends you mad, bonkers crazy. One day I'll fly away. I always get songs. Look at that, wings. Oh, look, Rapunzel trapped in the tower. See, when you've got trauma, you feel like you're trapped, but you're not trapped. You're not stuck. And I've actually just done a podcast episode on that. So if you look on the channel, or maybe I can put a card up here somewhere, you are not trapped, but you feel like you are. It says, you never needed those wings to fly. Well, let's read the little story in the book. Fly away from it all. I did a card pull this morning. I do one every morning for myself and I journal on it. And the message I got this morning was to write my books. I do have a strong voice. As Meghan Markle would say, women do have a voice. They just need to learn how to use it. Using it in my Facebook group is not a good use of my energy. Writing books is leaving a legacy, is educating people. And you can just go, here's my book, do you want to read it? No, you don't, fine. But then it's up to people. People then have that choice, don't they? And that feels a lot softer and a lot more gentle. Wings. Number 8. Oh, 8 is the infinity, the number of infinity. It seems like you're stuck in a never-ending cycle of self-doubt and self-criticism. Oh, yes, Lisa Parks, I think you might be. It's really hard to stay with yourself when you're constantly met with tumbleweed every day. Imagine that. You must know what that's like, to be in a relationship with someone that ignores you, that neglects you, that doesn't see you. You start to doubt yourself. You start to think, is it me? Obviously, it's not you. It's not you. It's them. You're not the problem. And that's the thing that people in narcissistic relationships must know. You are not the problem, but you can't do anything about the problem. You have to look at why you're choosing to engage, to keep engaging with the problem. I'm saying that for myself. I'm hearing myself say that as much as I'm saying it to you. It seems like you're stuck in a never-ending cycle of self-doubt and self-criticism. When you tell yourself you can't do whatever you set your mind to, that's what we refer to as negative self-talk. Yeah. I just did a journaling class on working through negative self-talk. It's on this channel if you'd like to go and check it out. And it's extremely toxic. Just as we expect others to treat us with kindness, we also need to treat ourselves with kindness. A bird can't fly away if you never let it out of its cage. Yeah, so it's saying free your mind. And that negative self-talk obviously comes from inside of us. But what are you feeding your mind? Like, what are you feeding your mind? Are you educating yourself? Are you listening to relaxing music and meditations and positive affirmations? Or are you just scrolling through and looking at videos of puppy dogs, or getting in the comments section and having 50,000 rows with people? You know, it's a bit like that, isn't it? Let's just pull another card from this deck. I tried to salvage the recording I did yesterday and I couldn't, much to my dismay, because it was a good reading. It was all about safety and vulnerability. It was also about creativity. Ooh. Raindrops. Take a chance on them. Take a chance on them. Well, we're both protected under the umbrella. What that says, because every muscle in my body is screaming right now, I don't want to take a chance on anything, because I'm too hurt. I feel too hurt. I'm still recovering from the battle. Where's my 5 of Swords? Oh, it's gone missing now. I'm still recovering from the battle. Maybe I'll just take a chance on the people that have supported me and focus my love and attention on them. If anyone has a reason to keep their guard up, it's you. People have been known to mistreat you, and like any rational person, you finally got tired of it, went back inside and locked the door. That's where I am now. But you weren't supposed to stay out of the rain forever. No matter how terrifying the prospect may seem, you need to put yourself out there again. Whoever it is you're thinking of, they can be trusted to walk with you through the storm. I think this is going back to discernment again and saying there are some people that can, and maybe it's not necessarily about the people, it's about the platforms and the algorithms and the darkness that brings out in people. It brings out people's shadow, it brings out their darkness. And it's making me think about another thing a narcissist does, which is divide and conquer. It's causing disharmony amongst the ranks. Let's just have one more card that goes with that. Because on the one hand, it's telling me to fly away. Maybe it's flying away from the social media and recognise your own power. But then there are some people that you can take a chance. And of course there are some people. They're the people that talk to me. They're the people that I'm trying to help. They're people like you who are watching this video. I think it's saying you can't, because of the way that the darkness is, you can't shut off yourself to all of that. So the title of this video, how to keep your heart open when the world insists that you harden it. Don't harden your heart. Just be discerning about who you trust and let into your umbrella, let into your world. Right, one more card and then we'll call it a day. I need some tea. What are you drinking today? I like licorice and peppermint tea at the moment. That's my favourite. One more card, please, for our making peace with the darkness. Oh God, it's the ultimate spiritual lesson. I have so many thoughts on this card. I don't even know if I want to share it with you. Oh, good Lord. Forgiveness. Forgive them, for they know not what they do. That came through in my journaling yesterday. Forgiveness is not about... on the bottom of the deck, we've got unplug. It's a tower moment. Tower moment in the tarot is when everything comes crashing down. Let me see if I can find the tarot card to show you. Yeah, the tarot card, the tower card in the tarot is when everything comes crashing down. I do think the online world is reaching a point of saturation. And I do think people are sick of being bombarded with ads and messages and whatnot. And I do think it will have had its day, and some people are turning their backs on it and returning to the real world. There's the tower, look. It's on fire and everyone's jumping out of the building. And it's when Spirit sends in something to blow everything apart so that you can build again. Yeah, do some yoga, Lise. Take a chill pill. Do some dancing. Do some more dancing. Forgive. See what they say in the book about forgiveness. My take on forgiveness is about letting go and release. So it's back to that surrender. That Hanged Man card with Chandler. It's on the bottom of the deck here. It's about surrendering. You've just got to surrender. You've got to give it up. Because what am I going to do? Walk around being pissed off with the darkness all my life? Well, so far I have. Although I did write in my journal yesterday that my anger as a child used to be how I created space for myself. So, you know, there'd be an almighty row and I'd get into trouble and I'd get really angry and upset, obviously, because the way I was being treated was unfair. I'd be sent off to my room. That would be my punishment, stay there for the rest of the day. But unconsciously, I think I used to create tower moments as a child to get my peace, to get my space back. Whereas I say to my inner child now, I'm an adult now, I don't need to create, I don't need to stay perpetually angry with people because I've got boundaries. I've got boundaries. Forgive. You've been holding a grudge against somebody in your life. Maybe it's a loved one or maybe it's yourself. This isn't a card. You see, I think forgiveness starts with you. You've got to forgive yourself for all the things you did when you were in survival mode when you're healing. Never mind about them. Focus on you. You've always been focused on them. Focus on you. This isn't a card telling you that you must learn to practice forgiveness. No. Forgive them on your own terms. Good. That's why I like this deck. If and when you feel ready to do so. Yeah, you can't force it. This is simply a nudge for you to consider whether that time is the present. Don't let forgiveness feel like an obligation, but like a shiny red hope that gets you through your sleepless late nights. It is about letting it go, and you can't let stuff go. Look at her sitting in the bath. Are they apples? They look like loads of plants with like apples. You can't let stuff go until you've worked through all of the pain and hurt and feelings. And then you wake up one day and you decide that you're not going to let it consume you anymore. And then you wake up the next day and you decide that you're not going to let it consume you. And as the days go on, you slowly release it. It isn't just a letting go all at once. So that's what healing is, isn't it? That's what surrendering is. It's just like one day at a time. Thank you. Thank you, Matthew Perry. We forgive one day at a time, and we start with ourselves. Wow. Well, what a lovely message that was for Halloween. I hope you enjoyed that. And just to let you know that tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I am running a drop-in journal session. So we use the cards to pull messages and we journal on the messages. And it's in Zoom. It's at 8 o'clock. It's £22 for a ticket. I shall put the links in below. You're very welcome to join us. I would really, really like that. So thanks everyone for listening, and thanks so much to everyone who has been kind and supportive and uplifting in my moment of meltdown. I really, really appreciate you. Lots of love. Bye for now.